everybody, it's Romania Black, and we are on part 34 of Heaven Officials Blessing, Volume 4, baby. I am so excited because we left last week on a cliffhanger, and I had to be gone for 5 days and couldn't read ahead, and I was so upset. I recorded that reaction right before I left my trip, and I was like, are you kidding me? It's like, oh. So I've been thinking about this all weekend, and then I wanted to wait and see if I got any comments for parts 32 and 33. I got a comment that I wanted to share with you all, and then I wanted to go ahead and start this because, oh my gosh, I said this in the last reaction, and it kind of rings true here. Volume 4 has been off to a very chaotic start. It's been such a very odd arc, right? Because we've had such... I feel like up until now, Heaven Officials Blessing has had a very like standard kind of like slow rev up into arcs. Like you had the bridegroom, you had Banyu. Like Volume 1 was very like we're just meandering about, you know, getting into a little trouble. Everything's all right, but nothing crazy. And then Volume 2 was like, oh, Chi Rong. Well, he's weird. What? He's related to Xie Lian. What? And then just kind of like gotten into more of that, and it started to rev up a little bit more. And then Volume 3 was the flashback and like angst. And then we came back to the present. And so now, ever since coming back to the present from Xie Lian's past arc, ever since coming back from book 3 and starting book 4, it has been utter insanity. Or starting book 3, whatever book we're on, whatever arc we're on. Ever since we came back from the flashback, it has been just absolute chaos. And this arc with the Reverend of Empty Words, it's just, there's not been any time to slow down. And the chapters go like that. And I feel like we just don't have any time to really settle in and get a hold of any possible reveals. And the last set of chapters was weird. I'll just say, for the record, I went back and re-listened to my discussion today to try to, because it'd been a little bit since I'd read the chapters, and I was like, I want to go back and review what all happened. It was a weird set of chapters because there's some weird stuff going on, right? We don't know how the Windmaster got taken. We don't know how their cloak ended up hanging above the rafters when Xie Lian and the Earthmaster clearly went just by them. We don't know why Hua Cheng mysteriously, Hua Cheng was so upset that Xie Lian wasn't near him, but then when the moment he gets back, he's like, oh, hey, I gotta go take care of something. I'm like, why are you leaving now? You just were making a big fuss and put Ming Yi into the ground because you couldn't be near Xie Lian, but now you're leaving him? Why? And so there's that mystery. We don't know why Hua Cheng left. He says he'll be back. He has something to tell Xie Lian, but we don't understand what's going on. And then Xie Lian tries to tell the Watermaster about what's going on. They freak out, obviously. And then in the most grandiose fashion, they ride down in freaking golden chariots, Pei Ming, Ling Wen, and Shiwudu, like they left their rave 90s aughts party to come down here and see what's going on. And it's the worst possible scenario the Windmaster could have wanted. So it's just chaos. And Pei Ming, I told everybody in the comments, I'm like, Pei Ming is out to get Xie Lian now because Pei Ming is like holding such a grudge against Xie Lian because Xie Lian got Pei Jr. in trouble, even though it was Pei Jr.'s fault and Pei Jr.'s okay with it. Pei Ming can't stand it. So Pei Ming has like got a chip on his shoulder that he just has to get back at Xie Lian. And his way of getting back is to prove that Xie Lian is in cahoots with Hua Cheng, which he is, and just trying to point that out. And Ming Yi is like, I just want food, so I'll go along with whatever Xie Lian says to get my BFF back and to get out of here and go get an all-you-can-eat buffet. So it's just been crazy. And there's no signs of it stopping. Like, we are surprisingly already into a little chunk of Volume 4. I was like, I got my book down off the shelf today, and I was like, man, we're already into Volume 4 pretty heavy, right? It feels like we've wasted no time getting to this point, but yet it's like we've been spinning in circles since Volume 4 started. Like, this whole section here has been just us spinning in a circle, and the Reverend of Empty Words is dangling a carrot in front of us, a carrot of exposition that we've not been able to grab yet. But very crazy stuff. The Reverend of Empty Words is surprisingly strong and creepy, and Sarah Linda made a comment on the video for last set of chapters that it's like the Reverend of Empty Words is almost as scary as, or scarier than Chi Rong, who's one of the calamities. And I was like, yeah, he kind of is. Like, the Reverend of Empty Words is much more of a threat than Qi-Rong. And I don't know what that says about Qi-Rong, but he is our trash king. So, you know, the joke has been since volume 1 that Qi-Rong's not quite as strong as the other 3 calamities. He's just kind of there out of spite, and everybody just kind of, the ghosts are just kind of like, he's just awful, so we let him be there. But the Reverend of Empty Words is pretty far up there. I'm like, in my head, when I woke up this morning, I was thinking of Sarah Linda's comment, and I was like, what if the Reverend of Empty Words is actually like Bai Wusheng? Like, it's just Bai Wusheng and a power that Bai Wusheng has, and it's like, stop! Like, just that. I hate to say it, but I kind of miss Bai Wusheng. I miss him because he's so creepy and terrifying, and I really like him in the story because he adds this element of dread that just, you like kind of feed off of it, right? I'm a Venerable of Empty Words at this point. I am the Reverend of Empty Words, feeding off the fear that I get from Bai Wusheng being in this story, but I kind of miss the White Calamity. It's weird to say. I don't know why I think that, but I just do. But yeah, so there was that comment. And then SQQLBH314 talked about how in chapters 112 through 110 to 112, the Windmaster is proven to not be much of a fighter, actually, which I was like, interesting, right? Because Xie Lian ends up fighting the Reverend of Empty Words with the fan, using it as a sword. But the Windmaster, aside from having the fan as a weapon, they're really not much of a martial artist or a fighter. That's not their thing. And they're not a martial god, so they're just kind of like, eh. They don't really have a big fighting bone in their body, which also makes sense because the Water Master has basically been the overprotective brother the last several chapters, as we've come to find out, that has kind of prevented the Windmaster from defending themselves. They haven't ever needed to. They've always had wealth and a silver spoon, so why would they need to defend themselves? So it's kind of fascinating. But yeah, finding out the Windmaster is actually not a fighter is rather intriguing, right? And then in chapter 112, I was asking about the title. And SQQLBH314 said that the title is from a designed prison. It means from a designed prison, doors open to meet the ghost. And it comes from a Chinese idiom that refers to the kindness of people in ancient times. That for those guilty, they only needed to draw a circle on the ground and let people stand in the circle as punishment, only to be allowed to move within a delegated area. And that's kind of interesting. So it kind of seems representative of this entire arc so far, is that we're getting pushed into this circle. We can't leave the circle. We can't use the distance shortening array. We've got to go on foot, but it seems like we're limited in our movements and we can't advance like we need to. So it feels almost like a representation of being in this stagnant, weird position, right? It's very interesting, but yeah, I'm really excited to get into these chapters. But before we start, I do want to make note that we've been talking about it in the Discord and talking about censorship. And this cover, let's be real, it's just 2 people kissing. I don't care what anybody's political, personal beliefs are. It's just 2 people kissing. Doesn't matter if it's 2 guys, 2 girls, a guy and a girl, a dog and a cat. It doesn't matter, right? It could be Judy Hobson, Nick Wilde from Zootopia. Doesn't matter. It's just 2 people kissing. It is just a sign of romance and love. And that's all it is. And that's all it has to be. And it's beautiful. But, you know, apparently in some countries, this is too much. Really, it's too much. And so there's people in the chat, Couscous and some others were saying that, like in Russia, for example, and some other countries, we can't have kissing on the cover because that's a big no-no. So instead, they've altered the cover. And when they told me there was an alternate cover, I kind of was like, oh, well, that kind of sucks. But then some people on YouTube were like, there's an alternate cover. You should go check it out. And I was like, I was thinking that by alternate cover, it was like a whole new cover. It was like a brand new cover with like a different scene from volume 4. And I was like, oh, cool. Well, I kind of want to see it because maybe it'll be a scene from volume 4 that's, you know, going to be hinted at. That'll be fun. But then I saw it. It's the same cover. All they did was separate Hua Cheng and Xie Lian by like an inch where they're not kissing. And instead they're looking longingly into each other's eyes with like the most deepest love. The pose is the same. I'm like, oh no, Hua Cheng, he grabbed Xie Lian and kept him from falling against the table and having a concussion. That's what this cover is. I'm like, what do you think is going on? And Reiki created this GIF, which is the best thing ever, that is showing the 2 covers they found it online, and it's the gif of the two covers simultaneously, like the kiss and then backing up and being the censored version. How is that censored? It's literally just pre-kiss. You just took Photoshop and moved the head up a little bit, opened their eyes, and had them look gay lovingly at each other. The context is the same. It's still two guys in love. So I'm like, censorship is a weird thing, is the thesis of this discussion. But I thought that was worth sharing with you all. It blows my mind, the fact that they didn't change anything about the context of the scene, but gotta put that inch of air in between them, because that's gonna change the entire meaning. It's stupid. But I find it humorous. I think most of the community, despite being extremely frustrated, find it humorous as well. As like the publishers at this point are like, does this work? Will this suffice your weird obsession with not letting these two people kiss? Okay, they're fictional characters, damn it. Come on. But yeah, okay. But yeah, I liked that a lot. I thought that was really funny, so... But yeah, I'm excited, y'all, to start this set of chapters. We are looking at chapters 113 to 115. I'm sure it's going to end on a cliffhanger. I already know. I'm already anticipating the cliffhanger. I'm like, it's going to end on a damn cliffhanger, and I'm going to be frustrated. But the good news is I won't have to go out of town to wait to watch the next episode or the next set of chapters, if that is the case. So... But we've wasted enough time. We're going to start part 34 of Heaven Official's Blessing, the novel review. And we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go, y'all. The Windmaster screaming. Chapter 113, teasing words to befuddle me and also my lord. Oh, well, he is the lord that poured wine, so befuddling me and my lord, possibly... But is me the Windmaster? Is it the Windmaster and the Watermaster? Or is it Xie Lian and the Windmaster? What are we doing? All right. Oh, and the Watermaster's like, oh, Xing Shang, it's Gege. I know it's you. Oh, no. Everything's all right now. Oh, that's actually... Okay, all right. He's getting soft. Okay, all right. I'm kind of here for it. All right, my ass. How can anything be all right? Because that's the last thing he wanted. Oh, I can't take this. It was not only Shi Wudu's face that changed color, but Ling Wen and Pei Ming, who had just returned from giving out directives to his subordinates. Xing Shang, stop this. What you just said is no different than slapping your brother's face and pouring poison on his heart. Oh. Okay, but... He held his head wordlessly, ignoring him completely, muttering like he was possessed. I don't want to hear anything. You stop talking too. Let me calm down. Just go. Just get out of here. Oh, what nonsense are you... So he doesn't know about the Venerable of Empty Words? If there's anything, just tell us so we can know what to do to solve it. Do you not understand the words coming out of my mouth? Like, the Windmaster becomes Samuel L. Jackson in this moment. Do you not understand the effing words coming out of my mouth? Get out of here. Get the hell out of here. Oh, he spat out a mouthful of blood. And that's when Xie Lian comes in like, no bloodshed. Oh, what's wrong with the Windmaster? Oh, he reached out to check his pulse as well, but Shi Wudu slapped his hand away forcefully, glaring with fury. What do you mean he's ill? You're deranged from terror. I'm taking you back for treatment. You'll be healed for sure. I'm not ill. Whether I'm ill, you should know best. Don't write me off as crazy. I'm very aware. I've never been so aware in my life. Oh, you don't understand anything. He's grabbed you, dragged him to the carriage. Mingxiang, save me! Your Highness, save me! Oh, no! Oh, he grabbed the other two, one with each hand. Xie Lian and Mingyi both held onto his hands he extended. But Shi Wudu yanked him away forcefully again. Let's go. Everything's all right. Gege is here. Oh, my God. Oh, your brother doesn't want to go back with you. Oh, Mingyi. The Reverend of Empty Words hasn't been dealt with yet. Lord Watermaster, what do you plan on? Reverend of Empty Words? What Reverend of Empty Words? I have no idea what you're all talking about. He's ill. His mind is addled. That is all. No, but Lord Windmaster. This is my brother. Do you think I would mistreat him? This is our own family affair. There's no need to trouble outsiders. Would the two lords please not spread word of this around either? Just mind your own business. But how does he not know about the Reverend of Empty Words? He got pale when he heard about it last time. He raised his hand in front of Ching Chong and swept it down. Oh no, and he knocked him out. No, 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 no. Although his words were rude, they stung Xie Lian. He wasn't wrong. After all, Shi Wudu was the rightful blood brother of Shi Qingshong. So how could he have any intent to harm him? Besides, there were 2 other heavenly officials accompanying them. So having him go back with them was the safest option. How could outsiders continue to interfere when family showed up? The Windmaster fan lay broken in 2 on the ground without anyone caring. Ling Wen picked it up, speaking to Xie Lian and Ming Yi. Your Highness, Lord Earthmaster, please don't be offended. Lord Watermaster is only mad from worry. This affair is personal, and personal scandals shan't be publicized. So pray, my lords, keep this to yourselves. He will for sure make amends when this is settled. And Ling Wen boarded the carriage hastily. Oh, well, that was so quick, but no. It finally hit Xie Lian. Oh, it just sunk in. The Watermaster really did take the Windmaster away, just like that. As for them, after running around for so long, they were just left behind, just like that. Ming Yi turned around and was about to leave. He said, Lord Earthmaster! Looking at him meaningfully before he said, relax, I won't say anything about Hua Cheng. Thank you. Are you going to check up on the Lord Windmaster? Ming Yi nodded once and turned back around to continue on his way. Well, they're just abandoning the case? What? Although Xie Lian was also very worried about the Windmaster, still, all the medical heavenly officials in the upper court were going to be of more help than he would be. Besides, Shi Wudu would for sure not want any outsiders to witness his brother's madness, given that it wasn't the right time to pay a visit right now. Actually, Hua Cheng's sudden departure was of more concern. After some consideration, Xie Lian decided to go find Hua Cheng first. Making up his mind, he left the Terrace of Cascading Wine and speedily began his overnight journey. So they just disbanded? Like that? No! Unable to use the distance shortening array and without a golden carriage of burnished horses, Xie Lian could only depend on his pair of legs, sprinting through the mountain paths. As he ran, he thought, what kind of situation would Song Long possibly run into? His expression and tone of voice earlier made it seem like it was something serious. Hopefully I'll be able to give him a hand this time! Oh! It wasn't even an instant's time before suddenly he noticed the roads ahead of him were thick with the essence of evil. Visibility heavily reduced, Xie Lian slowed his pace and thought, no way, what is it now? He stood on the side of the road to watch and observe quietly. A while later, from the thick of that essence of evil came a bizarre work song. Yi yu shi, yi yu shi, yi yu shi, yi yu shi. Yi yu shi are just meaningless sounds. At the end of the road ahead, a giant black silhouette hazily appeared. It was black and large. Is this the Venerable of Is this the Reverend? It was black and large with some shadows floating about, but Xie Lian couldn't tell just what it was. He had never seen anything with that shape, but it was for sure something quite big. Subconsciously, he took a step back in alarm. The Rui left his arm ready to attack, and he rested his right hand on Feng Shen's hilt. Soon after, the giant thing showed its true form from the mist. Xie Lian's eyes slightly widened. It turns out it was a glamorous step litter. A litter is a type of wheelless vehicle, a human-powered transport. Palanquins and sedan chairs are categorized as litters, but often have boxed cabins. A step litter is an open-air platform with a seat thrown, and sometimes it has a canopy adorned with the hanging satin curtains. Step litters are usually reserved for those with high status. Oh, okay. It was exceedingly extravagant. From its golden canopy hung exquisite feather-like satin veils. Should anyone be enthroned within, they would for sure be shrouded within the expanse of the enchanting crimson drapes. Oh, okay, obscuring their silhouette and leaving much to the imagination. The porters carrying that step litter were 4 golden skeletons with abnormally large bone structures. They hollered their work song, Yi Yu Shi Yu Shi. The large bone structures makes me think of Ban Yu, as they made way. Next to every skeleton floated small languid swirls of ghost fires, twirling about, presumably used for illumination. Whenever they came to a darker area, the ghost fires would burn brighter. The sight was too strange, too bizarre and demonic, and Xie Lian couldn't help but stare, wondering if he ran into some ghost lady out to meet a lover on a date. He hurriedly backed further onto the side of the road to give way. Unexpectedly, however, the 4 golden skeletons carrying the stepladder stopped in front of him, and each turned their skulls towards him. What? One of the golden skeletons' jawbones crackled, and out came a sound from who knows where. It spoke with a quivering voice. Lord Chengzhu sends us to receive the Crown Prince of Shanla. Is my lord your highness? Lord Chengzhu could be no other than Hua Cheng. What fanfare? Xie Lian removed his hand from the hilt of the sword and answered, that's me. Crackle, crackle, the skeletons seemed to be rejoicing towards the stepladder. Please board, let's go! What would that's too much trouble. Nonsense, it's no trouble at all. This is our job. Your Highness, please board. Long Chengzhu is waiting for you. And thus he carefully stepped on the platform, lifted the veil, and seated himself from within. Thanks for the trouble. The golden skeletons were ecstatic, crackling and saying something incomprehensible. They picked up the stepladder and started bumping along the mountain paths. That stepladder had upon it a wicker chair sewn with a brocade, exceedingly comfortable. Xie Lian sat poised in the center, feeling that it seemed just a bit big for just one person. Yeah, just one person, right? Well, it's a shame there's not a ghost king to sit beside you in it. The stepladder carried by those golden skeletons seemed to be bumpy and wobbly, but when he actually sat down, the ride was quite steady. It moved extremely fast, swifter than a flying sword. Chengzhu means Lord Mayor or City Master. That doesn't quite cut it, since the ghost city is more of a city or fortress state and has its own sovereignty. I haven't found any satisfactory English term that would fully represent Hua Cheng's power and status, so let's just keep it at Chengzhu. Okay! And other than bizarre work song those golden skeletons seemed to enjoy chanting, it was practically silent. Much more so than the rumbling golden carriage with brandished horses, and even more mysterious. Well, that checks out. That seems very Hua Cheng. In the past, when Xie Lian was still a crown prince, he would also ride a stepladder. And when he went out from time to time, he was much younger back then and sat on the lap of either his father or mother. The stepladder was carried by specially chosen palace attendants who would cheer and clamor all around, impressive and imposing. After he got bigger, he didn't enjoy it as much anymore. Nevertheless, this was his first time being transported by those creatures, so he still couldn't help but be amazed. After traveling for a while, he suddenly sensed a band of green ghost fires ahead. Oh, green! Their wispy light shimmered through the veil, and quiet chatter came from wafting in the air. Who goes there? Shouldn't he be leaving something behind crossing through this burial ground? It seems they ran into the road blocking feral ghosts. Shadows eating shadows, ghosts devouring ghosts, yet they even dared provoke Hua Cheng? The skeletons crackled and laughed. What do you want us to leave behind? Xie Lian was just contemplating whether he should show his face and deal with this, when he heard those tiny voices shriek, Oi, 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 forgive us! Our shitty eyes be blind and didn't realize this was the stepladder of our Lord Hua Cheng. Get back to the burials, get back! My lords, please pass ye will, as ye will. My lords are generous, please pass as ye will. Oh, I love it! Too late, too late. Lord Chengzhu has given us clear instructions that the Highness seated in the stepladder shall not be offended. Now that His Highness has been delayed, why don't y'all tell us what shall be done? Wails and devilish cries howled all around. Xie Lian couldn't stand it anymore and said, forget it. Since we're in a rush, let's just let this go. Since His Highness says so, we shall let them go. Y'all got off easy. Oh! Okay. However, do keep in mind never to block the roads in the future and do not harm travelers. Yeah. Feral Ghost. No, I swear that's never happened. Thank you, my lord. I like that Xie Lian's like, well, thank you, but be good. Depart! This is so crazy. As they passed through, Xie Lian faintly heard the babbling of female ghosts chattering in wonder. Do y'all think this is the Highness sitting in that litter? I've never seen Lord Huang's golden stepladder carry anyone else. If it was a lady, then it'd be easy to guess, yet it's a man. Very strange. What's so strange about it? Xie Lian wondered. Oh! The next second, he heard the female ghost say, yeah, and here I was so sure the golden litter was definitely for the madame wife. Well! Hua Cheng's gonna be getting his interest. After having run around for days while riding in the stepladder, Xie Lian felt drowsy. He used his hand to support his cheek and dozed off. After another long while passed, he felt the stepladder stop again. What is it? He thought they ran into another band of broad blocking feral ghosts. But just as the words left his lips, he felt the stepladder dip, and it was another who had gotten on. The man lifted the veil and called out lightly, Gege. Xie Lian rubbed his eyes and squinted, looking towards the voice. Sun Long. The one who'd come was naturally Hua Cheng. When he saw Xie Lian's half-awake state, bleary-eyed and dazed, he was slightly taken aback. Xie Lian sat up feeling embarrassed and cleared his throat. I accidentally fell asleep. Soon after, Hua Cheng smiled and went over to sit too. Gege is exhausted. I hope Gege won't mind if I squeeze in. Oh yeah, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. You planned this whole thing out. Xie Lian nodded and tried to move more to the right, wanting to leave more room for Hua Cheng. But Hua Cheng extended his arm and caught his right shoulder, pulling him back. There's no need. There's enough space. Truthfully, there wasn't. This stepladder was crafty, too big for one person, too cramped for two. Not a perfect fit unless one employed the method from Xie Lian's younger years and one sat on the lap of the other. Oh my God! Look at you! What? What? You left just in time earlier. 3 heavenly officials from the upper court descended all at once. Was it the 3 tumors? I already expected it. Was that the reason you ran away? No, I went to hail for the carriage. What? There has to be more to it than that. So how is it, Gege? Isn't my infernal ghost carriage much more fun than the golden carriage of those heavenly officials in the upper court? Oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? You went and got this stupid carriage because you knew they were going to come and you wanted to show off to your boyfriend? Are you freaking serious? Oh, it is. Yes, it's very fun, Xie Lian laughed. But when he was reminded of the Windmaster's awful state, he couldn't laugh anymore and became solemn. By the way, Sanlong, what was it that you wanted to tell me earlier? Inadvertently, their eyes met. Hua Cheng still had Xie Lian's right shoulder in his grasp, never having let go, as if he was holding him in his embrace. Looking from the outside, only 2 overlapping silhouettes could be seen within the veils of that stepladder, curled up together, inseparable. Within the red curtains, Hua Cheng smiled. Gege, you want to get married? Huh? Xie Lian was startled. Such a gaze, such words. They were in such close quarters with nowhere to run. Instantly, colors exploded in Xie Lian's vision. His mind went completely blank. His entire person was frozen, stiffer than a corpse. Seeing his reaction, Hua Cheng took his arm back and snickered. It's a joke. Did I shock you, Gege? You bastard! No! It was a good moment before Xie Lian snapped out of it. You're too much. How can you joke about something like that? It wasn't just shock. He was so rattled, his heart almost stopped. And though he did not realize it, there was also a trace of hurt. He didn't want it to be a joke. My bad. Hua Cheng, you are villainous! He stretched out his long legs and crossed them, settling them up front, wiggling his boots. Well, he's like a cross between the Beast and Gaston. What? The silver chains clinked against each other, jingling crisply, truly the very image of mischief. If this was before, Xie Lian would think this young man playful and endearing, but now, for some reason, that noise was disrupting his calm, and an unexplained frustration filled his mind. After feeling shaken for a bit, he couldn't help but think once more, how can you joke about something like that? However, when he thought about it, there wasn't anything wrong. It was precisely because it didn't mean anything that it could be used as a joke. Hua Cheng noticed the odd expression and immediately sat up straight. Your Highness, don't take it to heart. I was in the wrong just now. I won't ever joke about this ever again. Seeing that he apologized so solemnly, Xie Lian felt bad. He thought, am I stupid? It was only a joke and nothing serious. Besides, Sanlong only said, want to get married, but he didn't specifically to whom, and so where did my mind wander off to? Get a hold of yourself! This instant! Right now! He smacked himself a few times mentally and steadied his spirit before smiling. Oh, Xie Lian, you got it bad, honey, and he knows it. No. How are you in the wrong? Don't misunderstand. I was just thinking about Lord Windmaster, so I looked a bit serious. Oh, Hua Cheng said, since the water tyrant descended too, that affair should be taken care of. The two were exceedingly cooperative in changing the subject. Xie Lian started to think seriously and shook his head softly. Sanlong, do you really think this is all over? Somehow I think this is only the beginning. Foreshadowing, huh? Xing Qingshang had always admired and respected his older brother, but just as he escaped danger and saw his brother's face, he reacted like that. A horrifying thought entered his mind. Could the one who deceived Xing Qingshang into opening the doors be Shi Wudu? Although Shi Wudu would have been in the company of Ling Wen and General Pei at the time, still, it wouldn't be difficult for spiritually powerful heavenly officials to create clones and send them off on errands. Oh, I hadn't even thought about that! Oh! He was just about to keep telling Hua Cheng some of the suspicions and assumptions when Hua Cheng said, "No, this affair is done and over with." His tone was firm, and Xie Lian couldn't help but be taken aback. "San Long." Hua Cheng stared at him intently. "Gege, do you trust me?" It's like Aladdin. Xie Lian met his eyes and was equally firm. "I do." Hua Cheng said slowly, "Then believe me. Stay far away from Windmaster, Watermaster, Earthmaster, Ling Wen, and Pei Ming. The further away, the better." Oh, ooh, but why, Hua Cheng? Why are we doing that? Huh. Teasing words to befuddle me and also my lord, which is now Xie Lian and Hua Cheng. 2, chapter 114. After that exchange, thoughts laid heavy on Xie Lian's mind the rest of the way. He tried prodding for more, but every response Hua Cheng gave him thereafter all seemed to mean, "That's all I'll say on the subject." Thus, Xie Lian didn't pursue it anymore. When they returned to Puchi Shrine, dawn had not yet broken upon the horizon. Pushing the door open, Xie Lian could see that all the dishes were cleaned and put away. Long Ying, Guzi, and Qirong were all sleeping inside, a blanket covering them, looking very comfortable. It seemed that after he had left, there really was someone who took care of things attentively, and they had already left silently. This time, when Xie Lian returned, there was a large pile of prayers waiting. Puchi Shrine had never received this many prayers before, but he didn't think it had anything to do with that wealthy merchant spreading his good name. That's right. That wealthy merchant who lived in town finally came to fulfill his promise. However, even if he did come by, he either didn't notice the very obvious sign Xie Lian placed out front, or he purposefully ignored it. He also didn't donate however much money he promised he would. The most important purpose of his coming here was to gift a brocade banner, and he enthusiastically presented it to Xie Lian before all the folks in the village. Xie Lian rolled it open unsuspectingly, and immediately folded it closed. Even so, the giant words on the brocade banner were deeply ingrained in his mind. "Return babes through miraculous hands." "Return babes through miraculous hands" is a play on the idiom "return to spring through miraculous hands," which is a compliment for doctors who are so skilled they can bring the dead back to life. In this case, the wealthy merchant wanted to praise Xie Lian's skill in saving fetuses. Ah, okay. After sending that wealthy merchant off, he exhaled a long sigh. He'd been worried every day, wondering when the shack would finally collapse, when he didn't really know when it could be repaired. Hua Cheng had been leaning against the door, seemed to have guessed what he was sighing over. He said, "I've long wanted to say something. If Gege doesn't feel secure living here, why not just move somewhere else?" "That's easy for you to say, San Long. Where would I move to?" "Why not move over to my place?" "Oh, you would! Man, smooth. Xie Lian knew that those words couldn't be as nonchalant as they sounded, but ever since the joke the other night, a small shadow manifested in his heart for some reason. He no longer dared respond to anything Hua Cheng said using that joking demeanor, only acknowledging with a smile and inclining his head. He's so afraid of admitting something. As for those prayers received, although they were nothing more than mundane, such as the old ox broke his leg and couldn't haul the plow, or the wife in his house got pregnant and couldn't help in the fields, nonetheless they were still prayers, and he must treat all worshippers equally. After a couple of days, Xie Lian responded to the prayers and went into the village to help plow and plant. Since Hua Cheng had been staying with him, naturally he went along to play. Because this was hard manual labor, at first Xie Lian hadn't wanted him to work too, but he refused to be persuaded. Thus the two changed into coarse clothing, rolled up their sleeves and pant legs, and entered the waters of the rice paddy fields. Aw, it's a date out doing farm work. The large expanse of lush green rice paddy fields were littered with bustling farmers, and among them there were two silhouettes that were particularly conspicuous. Even if he was dressed in Xie Lian's gritty clothing, not a single bit of Hua Cheng's impressive air could be hidden away. More like that ragged outfit only accentuated his face and figure. Oh, Xie Lian's just gonna go gushing on him for days. Like, let's be real. The two of them were pale-skinned and their arms beautiful, their legs long and straight, painting an eye-catching, scintillating picture among the muddy-faced farmers. It made the village girls, who were used to seeing boars, blush, their hearts racing. They kept sinking glances, and they transplanted seedlings. Soon their grafts were planted off course and into curved lines, becoming laughing stocks. Hua Cheng's blanched skin was the color that was devoid of blood. Xie Lian, on the other hand, was rosy through the translucent white. Due to his natural physique, the more he sweated, the more his skin became fair like jade. With the blazing sun overhead, he only had worked for a short while before his entire person was white like powder. The dry heat was intolerable, and he kept wiping at the beads of sweat rolling down his collarbones. However, he thought of how all the ghosts were all creatures of the shadows, disgusted with the sun. And knew Hua Cheng must have been even more irritated. Oh, that's right. Yeah, he doesn't like the sun. Xie Lian turned his head to look over. Sure enough, Hua Cheng was also straightened up languidly, using his hand to block out the sun, his eyes squinting. Hiding in the shadows of his right hand, he was also gazing in Xie Lian's direction. Xie Lian walked over and pressed the bamboo hat down on his head. Here. Oh! He was taken back at first, but he soon squinted into a smile. Okay. He denied it back at Banyu, but he took it here. Although Hua Cheng said he was going to work in the fields just for fun, when he actually got down to work, he was way faster than Xie Lian, swift and efficient, extremely skilled. An hour later, Xie Lian had finished transplanting his field of paddies, but he was already sore and in pain, knocking and massaging his waist. Hua Cheng came over to help him out. Xie Lian took a look, and he couldn't believe that after only so long, Hua Cheng actually finished a large field silently, all by himself. Each green rice stalk standing in the water paddies, neat and orderly, pleasing to the eye. Well, so long, you really do learn fast. You don't need to help me. Go sit and rest and drink some water or something. Thus, Hua Cheng went to the field ridges to retrieve water. The village head had been watching them on the side for some time, and just then he gave a thumbs up. Daozhong, which house do that little lad belong to? He's so diligent, so amazing. Just one of him is good enough as 10 men. If any girls to catch his eye, it'd be for her good fortune. Xie Lian laughed. Oh! It wasn't long before a few others came to secretly inquire too. Hey, Daozhong, where's that little lad staying at your shrine from? Is he married yet? There couldn't be a wife in his household yet, right? Surely not, he's so young. Xie Lian didn't know whether to laugh or cry and answered vaguely, I guess. He's young, so it's not time to consider anything yet. He doesn't want Hua Cheng to get married to a girl. Oh, the villager said immediately, well, that's not right. It's precisely because he's young. The affair's got to be settled soon. Daozhong, you got to talk to him. Men got to settle early before they can mature. Got to build a home before anything else. That's right, young people. They won't be able to withstand lonely nights. What's those 3 asterisks? The villagers from all the households with daughters and wanted to dig for information. Just as Xie Lian was courteously turning them away, Hua Cheng walked over with a bamboo water bottle dangling in his hand. I'm married. There's a wife at home. Oh. When the villagers heard, they were greatly disappointed, but still unrelenting. Well, which house is the lady from? Won't the little buddy tell us? You're not lying to us, are you? She must be virtuous and beautiful. Hua Cheng raised his brows. That's right. Virtuous and beautiful. A real noble and gracious special someone that I've liked since I was young. I've had that crush for many years and pursued really hard before I was able to win that person over. He spoke with such serious certainty without a hint of falsehood that those villagers felt there was no more to be said. They could only disperse, feeling defeatedly disappointed. Xie Lian was spacing out listening to him when Hua Cheng passed over a cloth and a water bottle. Water? Xie Lian took the cloth and wiped his mud-covered hands before taking the water bottle to drink a few swallows and then passed it back. Subconsciously, he'd bunched the cloth in his hands into a messy ball and he'd wiped himself here and there. After trying to hold it in for a while, he still couldn't help but ask, is that true? Hua Cheng took the bamboo bottle and drank after swallowing himself, his Adam's apple rolling up and down at once before he lowered his head. Is what true? Xie Lian raised his sleeve and wiped some sweat off the side of his face. He wondered if the sun was a little too big today, because both his forehead and cheeks were both burning up. He tried his best to sound as casual as possible and smiled. There's a wife at home. Virtuous and beautiful, a real noble, gracious, special someone. You've had a crush since you were young and pursued really hard before you won that person over. Oh, Hua Cheng said. That's a lie. Xie Lian hadn't noticed himself, but he let out a sigh of relief. This time his smile was genuine. He copied Hua Cheng's tone from before. You liar. But it wasn't all a lie. I just haven't won that person over yet. Oh, no, Xie Lian. Oh, he's going to think, no. Hearing this, Xie Lian was too stunned, but Hua Cheng was already turned around, leaving to keep laboring in the fields. Oh, damn it, he's going to think there's a lady that Hua Cheng likes. Hua Cheng, Do you not understand? Xie Lian is incredibly dense when it comes to this. Xie Lian stood where he was for a good while, days before bending down and slowly going back to work. Is this some reverse psychology shit, Hua Cheng? What are we doing? For some reason, he was feeling a little unhappy. Soon after, he discovered a small row of graphs were off course and immediately pulled his mind back. Xie Lian, he's going to think that Hua Cheng likes a lady, but that's not true. He likes you, you dummy. As he worked the fields, he tried connecting privately with the Windmaster through the private communication array. Although Hua Cheng warned him against getting close to the Windmaster and his group, Xie Lian couldn't help it. These past few days, he tried sending multiple messages multiple times, but still there weren't any responses, nothing but silence. Thus, he changed his tactics and reached out to Ling Wen instead. Ling Wen, how fares Lord Windmaster? Is he a little better? Ling Wen was instantly connected, and her voice sounded next to Xie Lian's ear. Lord Windmaster, I think he's a little better. Xie Lian instinctively knew she wasn't telling the truth, but didn't pursue it. However, that did help him make up his mind, and going up a little bit to go and take a look. Oh no! Just then Ling Wen added, by the way, Lord Watermaster sent a gift over to you. Please remember to take a look, Your Highness. A gift? Oh, there's no need for it. I haven't done anything deserving of a reward. There's no need to be humble, Ling Wen said. Lord Windmaster grabs anyone to accompany him when he's feeling impulsive. And you've endured hardships by his side for so long. In all manner of speaking, there's no shame in accepting the gift. Lord Watermaster said it was nothing but a small show of gratefulness, so just take it. That's very suspicious. I don't like that. Xie Lian still didn't think it was appropriate and kept it on his mind. After finishing his work and wrapping up, Hua Cheng went over to the village's head house to help repair his plow, and Xie Lian returned to the Puchi Shrine. After moving the three good-for-nothings, as Xie Lian called him, behind the shrine, Xie Lian, the three good-for-nothings! So, Chi-Rong, Guzi, and Nang, the good-for-nothings. Oh my god! Xie Lian searched all over the small abode, wondering, where's the gift? Thinking it might have fallen in the cracks behind the donation box, he rolled up his sleeves to move it. Unexpectedly, when he tried to lift, the box was unmoving. The donation box was excessively heavy, like it had grown roots to the ground. Perplexed, Xie Lian took out the key and opened the box. The moment he did, the bright golden light almost blinded him. The donation box was piled thick and high with gold bars, and with just a rough look, there was at least enough to turn into 1,000,000 merits. Oh! Xie Lian instantly threw the cover shut soundly, pressing it down heavily with both hands. Nothing but a small show of gratitude. To gift something so hefty for no reason. Was this a lip-sealing fee? At first he considered that if it was really nothing more than a small gift, like a spiritual jade bracelet for saving power or something, then maybe it'd be best to take it. After all, returning a gift might injure that Watermaster's face. And the Watermaster was proud, so it wouldn't be a nice thing to do. But now, alright, as expected of the God of Wealth. A chest this big, filled to the brim with gold bars. He had to return it. It just so happened he'd already planned on making a trip to the heavens immediately to check up on the Windmaster. Figuring Hua Cheng wouldn't return so fast, he left a note, and then hoisted that oppressively heavy donation box onto his back before taking off. Unexpectedly, the moment he reached the heavenly court, it was mayhem all around. Xie Lian stood dumbfounded with wide eyes. The perfect Great Martial Avenue was full of wreckage and potholes. Cracks and craters filled the streets. A group of junior heavenly officials were running around back and forth, and Ling Wen was squatting next to a deep crater, massaging her throbbing temple. Oh, she's back to a woman. What's happened? Your Highness, what are you doing carrying such a big donation box up here? What's happened? Don't even talk about it. General Nanyang and General Shangjin were fighting and destroyed each other's palaces. What? Fengshen and Mu Qing? Why are the two of them fighting again? What else can be done? What else can it be but that business with the fetus spirit? A few of the martial gods were in discussion, debating on how to deal with that ghost mother and son. General Nanyang suggested bringing that fetus spirit to the refinery to dissolve it, since that creature really did murder a great number of people, but Shangjin wouldn't let him. His tone wasn't the nicest, so Nanyang said, as if you've ever been so benevolent, maybe you held a guilty conscience, and so on. Your Highness, you know how it is. They're like that. Say a few words and they raise their fists. Just look around. Look what their brawl has brought upon us. I've long since said that you martial gods really don't have a good culture. The expense for repairs in the heavenly court this year is too terrifying. I've only counted halfway and now I've forgotten everything again. Really? Her headache did really look quite painful. Well, then I'll leave it to you. I'll go check up on the Windmaster. Visit Lord Windmaster. Oh, don't bother, Your Highness. Lord Windmaster isn't inviting or allowing visitors right now. Didn't you say he was a bit better? That's what Lord Watermaster said. But the Lord Windmaster is not allowing visitors. It's also the Lord Watermaster's words. Right now, not even I can see the Lord Windmaster, so he probably needs more time to recuperate. You best not go. Your Highness, speaking of, isn't your donation box also to... Oh. Xie Lian dropped the donation box to the ground. Then please help by giving this Lord to Lord Watermaster for me. I haven't done anything deserving of a reward. Even if he didn't give me anything, Xie Lian wouldn't say anything that shouldn't be said. He felt at ease after throwing the box down and left hastily. Ling Wen called after him from behind. Getting no response, she let it go and continued to look at the deep crater with her head throbbing. Although Xie Lian did leave, of course he wouldn't have descended back to the mortal realm just like that. Instead, he snuck to the esteemed palace of the Wind and Water Masters and the Heavenly Capital. Oh my god, Hua Cheng is going to be so mad at you! Ah! Ah! Although the palace was thick with guards both inside and out, a small thing like this couldn't stop Xie Lian. Xie Qingshang had brought him over last time, so he had a general idea where the Windmaster's bedchambers were located. He flipped over the wall and changed between running across rooftops stealthily and sneaking around on the ground. It didn't take him long before he arrived. The only thing he was worried about was the Windmaster not even being there to begin with, having been moved by his older brother to somewhere else. Fortunately, his worry didn't come true. He climbed onto the roof and found a blind spot where others couldn't see him. He used his legs to hook one of the beams, and hanging upside down from the eaves, he looked into the interior of the bedchamber. However, the moment he looked, he was shocked. Xie Qingshang was trussed up tightly, his hands and legs all bound with ropes. He was tied onto his own bed, but was struggling unceasingly. Next to him, Xie Wudu was pacing back and forth by the bed, a bowl full of something black and unknown in his hands. He paused for a moment, and then suddenly walked over and forced its contents down his brother's throat. What? What? Chapter 115, Traversing Through Tunnels, Sword Penetrating from Above. Having his jaws squeezed open by Xie Wudu and force-fed, Xie Qingshang choked violently, spitting and sputtering out more than half the contents, dirtying all of his front. He started screaming and knocked his head forward, tipping the bowl. Xie Wudu's face was fuming with smoke. He said, "Go ahead, keep breaking them. There's plenty more medicine where that came from. You break one bowl, I'll buy you 20 more. I'll keep forcing this down your throat until you drink it. Can't you just leave me alone? Let me die. I'm your brother. If I don't care for you, who will?" He twisted his head away. "I'll go have your fan fixed. I don't want that fan anymore." The Windmaster loved that rare spiritual device of his, the Windmaster fan, and would bring it out from time to time just to play around with it. Even in the midst of snowstorms in winter, the fan would be fluttering in the wind. Yet now he said he didn't even want the Windmaster fan anymore. Xie Lian was becoming more and more curious. "If you don't want it, that's fine too. We'll just use this chance to forge you a new spiritual device." "I don't want new ones either. Just let me descend." "Descend? Descend where?" "Descend back to the mortal realm. I don't want to stay in the upper court anymore. I don't want to be a god anymore." What a joke. Throw away your god and descend to the mortal realm? Stop making a fool of yourself. I don't think you understand just how many people in the world want to ascend and how many officials in the middle court would die to join the upper court. That's right, I didn't know. I don't know. I just want to be a drifting vagabond. Is that so wrong? Why is he wanting to be Xie Lian? I won't permit it. A carefree drifting vagabond. Dream on. Just then the color of his face changed as if a private message had reached him, passing on some news. Xie Wudu immediately rose to his feet, his two fingers pressed against his temple, listening intently. His face grew more and more serious. Soon after he turned to Xie Qingshang. "Stop adding to my troubles. I'm going to be busy for a little while. I've no time to mind you. Once I return from going through my third heavenly calamity, you won't be able to act up like this anymore." Then he threw his hands up and swiftly left the bedchamber. Once he was long gone, Xie Lian silently flipped down, pushing it at the window, looking to sneak in. However, no matter how he pushed, the window wouldn't budge. Some sort of confinement seal must be set up. He dared not force it open, lest there be some kind of alarm spell cast upon it. He only called out in a low voice, "Lord Windmaster, Lord Windmaster." "Your Highness!" "It's me. What's happened to you? I can't open this window. May I come in through another way?" When windows could be opened by normal means, it was easy to guess the method that a martial god would use to enter the chamber. No, don't destroy anything." There's a spell covering all the windows and doors here. If you force yourself in with brute strength, the entire palace of the wind and water will know someone's come. Unless it's by me or my brother, the doors and windows can only be opened from the inside. But you're all tied up like that. Your Highness, wait a second. Let me break free of this rope. Oh. Xie Lian watched as his entire person rolled around the bed, sometimes curled into a shrimp, sometimes straightened like a steel board, struggling with great trouble trying to break free. And Xie Lian softly cheered him on. Keep going, my lord. With a brief look, he could tell the rope binding Xing Chong wasn't any spiritual device. With the Windmaster's powers, it should have snapped, but with a hook of a finger. So why hadn't it broken yet? Could it be that Xing Chong really was so seriously injured he couldn't break free of such a simple bind? Just then, an odd movement came from under the bed. A hand suddenly stretched out. Xie Lian was taken aback in shock, and his head exploding in alarm. Lord Windmaster, watch out! There's someone hiding underneath your bed! What? Oh, but just then, as the words left his lips, a black silhouette swiftly crawled out from under the bed and stood before him, watching him from above. The man was dressed in black robes and bore the mask of a ghost. It was hard to tell when he had hid under the bed, nor what he had planned on doing. The Windmaster was securely trussed up on his bed, writhing all over, trying desperately to break free, and Xie Lian was blocked outside by the confinement seal, unable to enter, truly in a dire situation. Xie Lian was just thinking about breaking the window when he saw the man push up the ghost mask. Shut up! Mingzhong, my God, Mingzhong, my good bro, hurry! Help me loosen these binds! With just one hand, Mingyi snapped the rope, binding the Windmaster's body. The Windmaster worked out the kinks in his joints and then crawled out of the bed and rushed to open the window. He clutched Xie Lian's hands and shook them. Your Highness, thank you for remembering me still. Wasn't there a confinement spell in the bed chamber? How did the Lord Earthmaster get in? Nothing outside my profession, Mingyi said. Then he seemed to have noticed something wrong. He picked up the rope on the ground, looking it over before he looked up at the Windmaster. How come you can't even break free from something like this? Xie Lian fixed his eyes on the rope too. Not only was this not a spiritual device, it was nothing more than an ordinary rope. The Windmaster possessed such strong spiritual power. How could he be bound by some coarse twine and still struggle for so long? The Windmaster's face froze and Mingyi suddenly grabbed his left wrist, his expression growing icy. What's going on? Lord Windmaster, how did it become like this? There was not a trace of spiritual power in the Windmaster's body. Was it a bowl of medicine? No. It wasn't that medicine indeed. Xie Lian knew a little bit of medicine, but by its smell, the medical broth should have been an anesthetic calmant. Perhaps it might have caused drowsiness. Thinking back at the terrace of cascading wine, when Shiwudu grabbed his younger brother's wrist and changed, yes, he must have noticed the condition. To feed such a broth to the Windmaster should have been for his own good, so why was the Windmaster refusing it? The Windmaster wasn't answering any private communication. With all that strong spiritual power he once had completely gone, he was no different than a mortal. Lord Windmaster, you've been banished. Otherwise, how could he suddenly become this way? Yet there were no cursed shackles on his body, and if anyone was to be banished, there'd be no way to cover it up. The entire upper court and middle court would have known in no time. The Windmaster's face was pale, and he seemed unable to stand any longer. Why did the Lord Watermaster tie you up? Right, my brother. Let's hurry and get out of here while my brother's still gone. We'll talk after we've escaped. And then he dropped and crawled under the bed. Lord Windmaster! There was actually a hole under the bed, going who knows where, and the Windmaster disappeared into it. Mingyi lowered down, ready to go in too. Xie Lian contemplated and then decided to follow. However, Mingyi popped out once more. Your Highness, don't interfere in this anymore. Lord Windmaster assisted me generously many times before. Now that he's in trouble, I can't just stand back and watch. He's always full of generous words and deeds, but most would stay away when there's real trouble. How others behave has nothing to do with me. Once we figured out exactly what's going on, of course I'd back off if my help really is unnecessary. Are you two not coming? The hole is closing. Sure enough, the hole under the bed was gradually growing smaller. Seeing this, Mingyi swiftly jumped in and Xie Lian followed. The three crawled around the tunnel Mingyi dug, and when the Xie Lian looked back, the entrance to the hole was already filled, truly magical. Lord Earthmaster, how did you dig out this tunnel? I've never heard that this was possible to dig beneath the residences of the heavenly capital. It must be known that the foundation of the heavenly capital was not the same as the muddy earth of the mortal realm. It was only after he asked that he learned The Earthmaster Ming Yi used to be a skilled engineer in the common world. Well, that explains like him drawing the distance array and being so professional about it. In his past lifetime, he repaired bridges, fixed roads, opened mountain paths, constructed houses, and bestowed prosperity to countless many, which is what allowed him to ascend. Now, before any major construction in the mortal realm, before any earth was bored, people must first pray to the Earthmaster and wish for blessings of a successful labor work. Oh, okay. After he ascended, he forged a spiritual device, and it was a crescent moon-shaped shovel. Okay. Legends say there was no mountain this sacred shovel could not flatten, no tunnel that could not be dug, no building uninterable. To infiltrate as a spy in the ghost city, his ability was extremely advantageous. If there should be any secret chambers he wished to enter, he could just dig under and the holes would close up after. If it wasn't for Hua Cheng beating him to a pulp and greatly damaging his spiritual power, maybe he could have escaped using his treasured shovel. In the past, the Earthmaster was never tried using a shovel to dig under any heavenly official's residence, and he wasn't particularly interested in showing off his spiritual device either, keeping it packed away. It was probably a good thing he wasn't showing it off. The spiritual devices belonging to the officials of the upper court were all of elegant and beautiful sort, like books and brushes, swords and fans, guqin and flutes. If a heavenly official was to walk around with a shovel all day, it'd probably kill the scenery and murder his image. Once he heard the explanation, Xie Lian couldn't help but wonder, if he wanted his Pucci shrine to be renovated, maybe he should pray to the Earthmaster too! Oh! Was it the Reverend of Empty Words? Oh, Ming Yi asking. He wanted to know if that was the case, if it really was the Reverend of Empty Words who injured the Windmaster like this. If word got out, it would cause for an uproar in the heavenly realm and produce extreme terror. A monster that can make a heavenly official lose their powers in a short amount of time and have them fall to become just a mortal. Just thinking about it, it wouldn't be hard to imagine what mayhem that would cause. No matter who did it, this whole thing is done and over with. This reaction was definitely too questionable. If this was a conspired trap, no matter what, the reaction shouldn't have been this, especially from someone like the Windmaster, who could never be silenced when meeting injustice. Instantly, a sudden dreadful conjecture came to Xie Lian. Although awful, it could explain everything. Oh, come on now! You're not going to tell us what... XTX. Silence. Just then, Ming Yi demanded silence. The three in the underground tunnel all held their breath in unison. Ming Yi ignited a palm torch and errantly illuminated the grounds inches before them. The two others looked at him. Ming Yi seemed to want to communicate via spiritual array, but the Windmaster lost all their powers now, unable to use his mind to communicate. Thus he changed his mind and used a finger to write words in the air. Where his fingertips sliced through, the trace of ink was left behind, as if it was thick, dripped, and diffused into water. The other two saw what he wrote. Don't speak and don't move. Wait. After waiting for everyone to read, he soundlessly blew once and the words dispersed in the air. There was still some remaining spiritual power and Xie Lian hadn't used up, so he raised his hand and wrote a string of words too. Wait for what? For how long? Wait until the person above leaves. Oh. Okay. There's a heavenly official above right now at this very moment. Oh. The martial god possessed 5 sharp senses, and they might be captured if they suspect anything. Oh, the Windmaster couldn't use spiritual ray nor write, and could only move his lips silently to express his accusations. He watched him repeat himself twice before he could understand what he was saying. Mingzhong, why didn't you avoid temples and palaces? Couldn't you have dug under the Great Martial Avenue instead? There wasn't anyone in the palace before. The Great Martial Avenue is full of holes right now. Ah, that's right. I saw on the way over earlier. The avenue is full of holes and craters, some even meters deep. If we took the tunnels that way, who knows who we might bump into if we look up. Ah, is that person gone? Transforming into 3 rocks. Oh. I love that the little veins pop in the Windmaster's temple. His angry face almost the same as when he was arguing with his brother. Who the hell is dilly-dallying? It's not even the hour of sleeping. And what heavenly official needs to sleep? Is this the bathroom above our heads or what? Oh, strictly speaking, heavenly officials didn't need to go to the bathroom either. When his lips were just forming the word bathroom, Xie Lian felt the hairs on his back stand. He forcibly pushed the two in front of him over while using a foot to step down and push hard. Oh, to step down hard to push back at the same time, falling backwards. Oh, like he pushed him out of the way and got back himself. A sharp blade penetrated from above the tunnel, its aura thick with the killing intent, and pierced the ground between his legs. No! Damn it! You! No! Oh, come on! No. Oh, no! Why? Why are we stopping there? MXTX. No! I have a feeling that I'm going to be reading ahead for the next couple weeks because I'm going to be honest with y'all. I'm going to be real honest. This is just going to be volume 4, aka cliffhanger, the volume, every single chapter. What the fudge? MXTX. Because I'll give y'all a little insight into what I've been planning. Because normally for my reactions for this book, I can read maybe like 30 pages is like ideal. 30 pages is enough to get like a good hour 30 to 2 hour conversation out of this and a reaction. And that's the sweet spot for me. If it's like between an hour and 30 and 2 hours, I feel like that's enough. Not too much, not bloated, not just satisfying enough, right? And 30 pages is a good amount to get through, right? But I'll be honest, the next several weeks are going to be like 2 chapter segments. Like next week I had planned chapters 116 and 117, which covers pages 117 to 138, which was, a nice chunk, right? A decent, it's only 20 pages, but if I went beyond that, it was going to be like 60 pages. So I had to cut off somewhere. So next week's not going to be very long. Maybe, who knows? Maybe I'll get past chapter 117 and be like, I just want to keep reading, and then I'll suffer. So I just cannot. I may end up reading ahead. So just to forewarn you all, I will be looking at your comments, but if I read ahead, please forgive me because this is so frustrating. We were doing good with chapters 113 and 114. I was like, okay, all right, we could have stopped there, but I'm like, I'll go ahead and read chapter 115, and then what do we get, right? Oh my gosh, I actually haven't looked yet. Oh, look at that. There is our poor Windmaster. The Watermaster is there with his brother, and the Windmaster has lost all their power. They've lost all their spiritual power. Oh my gosh. Well, that's very exciting. And then, okay. Oh, look at this. And then there's Hua Cheng, right? Hua Cheng talking about the wife. Yeah, okay. Okay. Talking about the wife there. Yeah. Xie Lian, sweetheart. Hua Cheng, I love you, Hua Cheng, but we need to talk about you in these chapters because I'm just like, what? Okay, are there any other pictures or nope, there's no other pictures. We're just going right to the part where someone's sword goes between their legs. These chapters were insanity, right? And we've covered a big chunk now. We're like a fourth of the way into the book. This whole Venerable of Empty Words, seemingly just ends. What? I'm so ticked off. I am so mad. We have no resolution with the Venerable of Empty Words, the Reverend. We have nothing. No. MXTX. Why? MXTX is such a masterclass in writing that I know what she's doing. She's going to have all this stuff happen with them in the little tunnel, and it's really cutesy, and they're rescuing the Windmaster, and the Windmaster wants to basically become like Xie Lian and be a vagabond and run around with them, and that's cool and everything, but Xie Lian knows that's not really what the Windmaster wants. But all of this is a distraction. MXTX is like, oh yeah, the Reverend of Empty Words, we'll just push him to the side right now. Oh, did Hua Cheng really go just to go get that carriage? Oh, we'll worry about that later. And oh yeah, the thing with Nanya, with Mu Qing and Feng Shan, we'll wait for that for later. There is so much set up in these chapters, and I'm like, MXTX tries to distract us with a hot date and with this cutesy tunnel scene that it's not just, you're not fooling me, MXTX. No, not at all. We should not be fooled by her antics. She is setting up stuff and setting up mystery and not explaining things. And it's all going to come back, right? Oh, this volume is called Volume 4, The Tease and the Cliffhanger. That is all this is. A big old tease and a big old cliffhanger. That is every week so far. We've been on Volume 4. It's so frustrating. So, we need to talk about it though, right? We need to talk about this. So, I want to put up here unanswered questions because there are many of them. And I put unam. unanswered theories. And we'll put questions here as well. Everything's all crazy right now. This is just, MXTX is like, who knows? Who knows what'll happen, right? And then also want to put up here, possible ideas and theories as well, because this is a lot of setup, a lot of things. There's possible ideas and theories. We'll put that here. And then I guess setup will probably go under this unanswered questions and theories because there's things being set up that MXTX is just choosing to not tell us. So the sad thing about this is that obviously we think that the Wind Master was aware they lost their spiritual power when they woke up. So the Wind Master, the questions that we have in here, the Wind Master apparently, because the Water Master grabbed his wrist and realized the spiritual power was gone, and Ling Wen and Pei Ming, who are BBFs, best bros forever, decided that they weren't going to rat on him and were like, oh crap, we need to get back. And so they're like, let's just get you out of here right now before you're hurt. So oddly enough, the Wind Master has lost their spiritual power. Somehow they opened the door and lost their spiritual power. I was waiting for Xie Lian to ask the Wind Master that. Like, why did you open the door? I was waiting for Xie Lian to ask that question, and they've not asked it. And I was like, Xie Lian, come on. So the questions we'll put here is, why did the Wind Master open the door? And that is still not answered. And I'm like, ugh. But apparently they've lost their spiritual power. And then the Reverend of Empty Words seemingly escapes. But why didn't they kill the Wind Master, honestly, or follow them? Like, what is the point? I mean, obviously, taking away the Wind Master's powers is a big deal because that's going to make them a very easy target. So far, the Wind Master's had all this protection around them that the Reverend of Empty Words hasn't been able to affect them no matter what they do. And so if they fall, they just fall and they get back up. But by taking their spiritual power away, they're now mortal and they could be in real danger. So it makes sense why the Wind Master runs away with them, right? It makes sense. But yeah, the Reverend of Empty Words is a really powerful ghost. Like, really powerful. So, my question is Reverend of Empty Words, why is no one going after it? Why does Voodoo and Co. not acknowledge it? And I know that's a question. I'm putting it under theories and ideas, but I'm like, what? I guess we'll also put like new theory and ideas and questions. And these are unanswered ones from before. So new questions and theories and ideas. Why did Voodoo and Ling Wen and Pei Ming not go after the Reverend of Empty Words? It seemed like Voodoo didn't understand or know about the curse. But the way that he reacted to the words on the wall would seem to suggest that he did know about the curse. So why is he suddenly in denial about it? What does he think that he's killed the Reverend of Empty Words in the past and that this shouldn't be happening to begin with? Is he freaked out because he realizes that, yes, this is the Reverend of Empty Words and his brother's in danger and he just wants to get him out of there before things get really bad? Is that it? There's something going on. There's something going on behind the scenes. We're not being told what. Those three know something. They're not letting on, and it's a problem. But the whole thing is that Voodoo has this third calamity, right? Voodoo has this third trial that they have have to pass. And he says that once I've passed it, I can protect you. He tells that to the Windmaster. So he's basically saying, once I pass this third trial, I will have enough power that I can keep you here in the heavenly realm with me, even though you're mortal, and it will be fine. No one will question me because I'm one of the strongest martial deities. Well, it makes sense now why he's hiding him away, because if Junwoo finds out that he's normal, that he's immortal, would he let him stay? I don't think, is there a law? That's a good thing. That's a good question. Is there a law about mortals in the heavenly realm? I would assume that mortals can't just stay there because it's the heavenly realm, right? So I'm thinking that maybe the Watermaster is worried that if Junwoo finds out that the Windmaster no longer has their spiritual power, they're no longer a deity, they're like, you can't stay here. Because Junwoo, even though I feel like Junwoo would be sympathetic towards the Watermaster, at the end of the day, Junwoo is a cog in the machine. He's got to do his job. And I could see him being like, yeah, you're a great guy, Watermaster, and so is the Windmaster. But if there's no spiritual power and you're not a deity anymore, you've got to go back to the mortal realm. And the Windmaster seems fine with that because they don't want their brother getting in trouble. So there's this bad tug and pull going on where this bad back and forth where the Windmaster doesn't want Shiwudu to get in trouble. So they're like, just let me go. Let me go back to the mortal realm. It's fine. I'll be okay. And the Watermaster's like, no, you're my brother. You won't be okay. We'll just hide you. And once I've completed this trial, I'll have enough strength. I can hide you even better. And we won't have to worry about this anymore. So it's just bad on bad, right? And so when the Windmaster like wakes up and sees them, they're like, oh, no, get out of here. I don't want you to know I no longer have any spiritual power. And so that's interesting. And he spits up the mouthful of blood. And so they say you're deranged from terror. And here's the thing. The Windmaster says, don't write me off as crazy. I'm very aware. I've never been so aware in my life. The Windmaster knows exactly what's happened. That they've lost their power and they're mortal now. And the Watermaster is like, I will say this. I will admit, right off the bat, we might as well talk about this now, but I will admit, I feel a little bit better about the Watermaster in these chapters because we've seen how much he cares about the Windmaster, and we've seen how desperate he is to protect his brother, like going to these great lengths to like guard the water temple and keep everyone out so that his brother's safe. It's really tragic. It's really sad. Like the Windmaster is this bubbly, charismatic, larger than life, waves the fan, is amazing and popular and wonderful. And now we see them like stripped bare and they don't even want the fan anymore. They're like, it's like that part of them is gone. And we see this very, like, I was really glad, at least in chapter 115, that the Windmaster, despite being stripped of their powers and their spiritual devices and kind of being a lot like Xie Lian, right? I'm glad the Windmaster still has their jovial personality and they were like, oh, you came to save me. You guys remembered me. Like that personality's still there. Like it makes me feel a lot better about the Windmaster's character because it means the Windmaster's not fake. The Windmaster is maybe not strong, maybe like posh, but they're not fake. That overly bubbly personality they've had around the Earthmaster and Xie Lian has been genuine, right? And I love that. I love that about the Windmaster, but I felt so bad for them this chapter because they don't have any power left. And Xie Lian makes note that it is not from the heavenly realm. It's not a cursed shackle. Something else has caused them to lose their power. The Reverend of Empty Words taking their spiritual power, though, seems very strange. And that doesn't seem right. So something's going on there. Like why did the Reverend of Empty Words... The Reverend of Empty Words have been all over them for so long. Why did they disappear? Xie Lian posits that they wonder if a clone of Shiwudu infiltrated the pavilion, which caused him to open the doors. But my thing is, I like that theory because it would make sense that the Windmaster got freaked out, saw their brother, and opened the doors out of panic. That makes sense. But then there's another part of me that's like, but would they really open the doors? Or would they have been so freaked out because they didn't want their brother to see them that they would have kept it shut? So something about the doors opening, we still don't know. It's all up in the air. No one's explained it. And it's like MXTX wants to kind of push it off the side and be like, oh, just forget about that for now so that they can dump it in our laps later. And I'm like, and it may be like 2 volumes from now when we find that out. So I'm like, oh, MXTX. Just, I referenced volume 1 in the last video. I won't be surprised if that happens. But yeah. So everything's all right. He's like, everything's all right. My brother's here. And that's when the Watermaster says, the Reverend of Empty Words, I have no idea what you're all talking about. He's ill. His mind is addled. That's all. And he's like, this is my brother. Do you think I would mistreat him? And so he's like, don't spread gossip. Just leave us alone. It's none of your business. And Xie Lian, who's uber polite, is like, well, yes, we can't, meddle in the affairs of family. But I'm like, how could they not have known about the Reverend of Empty Words? Like the curse and everything. They surely know about it. So why are they denying it? And the part where the Windmaster reaches out for both, he reaches out for both Xie Lian and Mingyi, and it's like, Your Highness, Mingzhong, save me. That was so sad. I was like, no, I'm not ready to see that animated. I'm not ready to see it animated. Nope. And so Ling Wen is like, just don't be offended. Just don't come after them. It's fine. And I honestly have gotten such respect for Mingyi in these chapters. I've gotten a lot of respect for them because there's some really cool things about Mingyi that I feel like we should talk about. I want to put Mingyi, I'll put Mingyi right over here. Mingyi, I have some really cool things that I want to talk about them. One, that they are loyal. I feel like Mingyi's a Taurus. I felt the Taurus energy radiating off Mingyi. I was like, I feel Taurus vibes from you. You need to be a Taurus because if you're not, you're definitely showing it. Because they are very loyal. They say they're not going to say a word about Hua Cheng. And I believe Mingyi. I believe they won't. I'm like, okay. But the funny thing is now that we know that Mingyi left, we know Mingyi was going to get to work building that tunnel. I love the moon shovel. It's so funny. I'm going to draw a little picture of it. But you know what I thought of? I thought of Sailor Moon's wand. I thought of just Sailor Moon's wand, only it's a shovel. And they're like, Mingyi, prism power. And they just dig under everything. That's what I thought of. I was having Sailor Moon vibes. And someone shared a piece of fan art in the Discord earlier today. And it was of the Windmaster and the Earthmaster as high school girls. And they're wearing the skirt with the teal hair. It made the Windmaster look like Sailor Neptune. So that's what made me think about it. But yeah, I just like that Mingyi instantly was like, I'm going to go start digging my tunnel. See ya. Bye. And so Xie Lian, I love that there's this horrible moment where Xie Lian's like, he really took the Windmaster. He's gone. It was just madness. We had all this chaos for chapter upon chapter. And then suddenly it's just over. And it almost feels jarring. You're like, what do you mean it's already over? It was solved that instantly. That's it. I feel like there's more to it than that. What we doing, right? And so Xie Lian's like, well, I don't know what to do. So I guess I'm just going to try to find San Long and see what's happening. And so then we'll talk about Hua Cheng. Can we talk about Hua Cheng? Hua Cheng was giving off very Beauty and the Beast, Beast/Gaston vibes in these chapters, right? So let's just talk about Hua Cheng. We'll put Hua Cheng here. Hua Cheng shows up with this golden. The moment that it said it had crimson sheets, I was like, oh, well, it's related to Hua Cheng because let's be real. Anything involving the color crimson in this book is related to Hua Cheng. So this golden carriage, this step sitter or step litter, and it has these 4 golden skeletons. 4 golden skeletons carrying it, which just looks absolutely amazing. I want to see this animated so badly. But I love that when he shows up, he's like, why would you ride in a noisy carriage that's so bulky and pedestrian when you could do this elegant, mysterious ride that's quiet as can be? And it's like, come on, Hua Cheng. And I also like that the ghosts are very attentive to Xie Lian. The ghosts were like, the master said that we have to do whatever Xie Lian says and we can't let him be offended. And I like that Xie Lian's like, okay. And then when the ghosts try to block the way, I thought we were going to get Qi Rong a little bit earlier, but no, he's snug in the Poochie Shrine. The nonsense. Oh my God, we get to that. The good for nothings. But yeah, Xie Lian, I love that when the ghosts get out of the way, he's like, now don't block the road. Be nice. It's wonderful. Like Xie Lian is so at home with the ghosts, right? Xie Lian's so at home with the ghosts, and he like tells them to do nice things, and it's just like the cutest thing in the world. But I do want to make note that there is this idea of the quiet ghost realm versus the noisy fanfare of the heavenly realm, right? Hua Cheng's like, we don't need all this bombastic fanfare. We can come in quiet as a flock of butterflies and leave just as easily and make just a dazzling of a show. And it's like, okay, it's great. And then, come on now, Xie Lian. I love that Hua Cheng knew exactly what he was doing. He has orchestrated so much of this. Hua Cheng, he orchestrated Xie Lian being in his lap. I feel like at this point in the story, Hua Cheng is like, okay, I'm being patient. I'm being real patient. I have dropped subtle clues throughout the last 3 volumes, Xie Lian. I've been dropping subtle clues. I've kept my distance. I've been dropping subtle clues that, I am somebody from your past. You probably should remember. I've loved you since I was a kid. I want to protect you and love you. You seem like maybe you're getting the drift, but it's just not enough. So I've been slowly, I've been tapping you with the stick, and now I want to poke a little bit. I've been tapping you with the stick, but I want to prod you a little bit with it, right? Because he getting in the step litter with him, making him sit on his lap, and Xie Lian being like, okay, I guess. But Xie Lian, the funny thing is, it's very reminiscent of Wei Wuxian a little bit from Madao Zushi, in that Xie Lian's not bothered by it. And in fact, when people are like, oh, there's a lady in that carriage, and Xie Lian's like, well, why would you think that? Xie Lian is totally open, I think, to the idea of liking Hua Cheng, but Xie Lian's never liked anybody that way before. So these are all new feelings for him, and he's, it's going to mess with his cultivation, he thinks. And he's like, well, I couldn't possibly have these feelings for anybody, much less the Supreme Ghost. But he kind of does. And he kind of, I think Xie Lian is slowly coming around to the idea that he does maybe fancy the idea of liking Hua Cheng. He just hasn't quite, articulated it to himself yet. And he hasn't found a way to, just admit it, right? It hasn't, the lights aren't clicking on. I feel like Ouran High School Host Club, whereas in the very first episode, when they figure out one of the characters is a girl, the light bulbs slowly come on for all the characters. I feel like the light bulbs are slowly ticking on with Xie Lian, oh, I might like Hua Cheng. Bung, bung, bung. And we're just not getting the part where they're all illuminated yet. And Hua Cheng would really like to flip the switch, but he's being respectful. He's trying his hardest, but you can tell that Hua Cheng's like, okay. Now he says in this that he expected the 3 tumors to come. And he says, well, no, that's not why I ran away. I went to hail for the carriage. And I'm like, that can't be all. So I'm like, why did Hua Cheng really leave? If it was to get the carriage, then he knew that the 3 of them were coming, and he needed to get away from there. To go get it, because he knew that the 3 were coming. There was nothing he could do. He needed to leave before they showed up, because that would have been highly suspicious and would have caused even more of a problem. So he left and got out of there. But that still raises some questions, like, 1, did he know the Windmaster had lost their power when he left, and he knew that that was going to be a problem, and that's why he left? 2, did he really go and get that carriage? Because the way he talked, it sounded like there was something else he needed to do, and we just don't know yet. And he doesn't talk about, when Xie Lian says, what is it you wanted to tell me earlier? He doesn't answer the question. He answers it with a joke, and I'm like, and Hua Cheng, he goes a little far. I think Hua Cheng sees how far can he prod Xie Lian. He prods a little too far, because he says, do you want to get married? And Xie Lian's like, oh, what? And he says, oh, it was a joke. But the thing of it is, Xie Lian is mad that it's a joke. There's a part of Xie Lian that wanted it to be real. He just didn't know what to do with that information. And I think Xie Lian is kind of realizing that he wanted it to be real and doesn't know what to do with that. So there's that. And Hua Cheng, I'm surprised Hua Cheng went that far. But here's the thing. Hua Cheng and Xie Lian have very similar senses of humor. They're kind of dark. But I feel like it's that moment in a relationship where you just start to get comfortable around someone. And it's almost like, in the weirdest of ways, like the honeymoon phase is fading away. And Hua Cheng is trying to be more of himself around Xie Lian and seeing like, how much of myself can I show of you? How much can I show of you and that you're still okay with me? Because Hua Cheng, we know as the audience reading, we can read between the lines and know Hua Cheng is dangerous. He is terrifying. He's like maybe the strongest character outside of Junwoo in this entire story. And he really, outside of Xie Lian, doesn't care about anybody. And so he can be kind of cruel. But he also is like very flirtatious, very sensual. And I feel like he's been tiptoeing around Xie Lian, trying to be in the best of Xie Lian's graces. He's tried to present himself in the perfect light to Xie Lian. Be like, I am perfection, just like you, is what Hua Cheng has been trying to do. And it's from being around Xie Lian and Xie Lian saying, you don't have to be perfect around me, just be yourself. I feel like Hua Cheng is slowly trying to do that. He's trying to put down some walls and show himself to Xie Lian a little bit more of how he actually is. And this whole joke about, you want to get married? Like, Hua Cheng's a very sensual, kind of flirty guy, which Xie Lian is not. I feel like Xie Lian's passionate. I feel like if Xie Lian loves you, it's going to be passionate and fiery and fierce. He just has to get there. And I think that's what Hua Cheng wants. But he shows a little of himself in this moment, and Xie Lian wasn't prepared for it. And then suddenly it's like the turtle lifts its neck out and then goes, oop, nope, too much, too far. He backtracks real quick, right? And Xie Lian feels kind of hurt by it. He's like, oh, well, I really wish you weren't joking about getting married. Because I think part of Xie Lian's heart was like, I really do like you. But he doesn't understand that that's what he feels yet, right? And so Hua Cheng, he just kind of laughs. And the part where he, stretches his long legs out and crosses them and wiggles in his boots felt very Gaston-like, right? And, he's got this, playful attitude, and he's the very image of mischief. And Xie Lian's just like, this is Hua Cheng. This is the Supreme Ghost King. And then he says, I'm sorry I joked that way. I won't do it again. Because, again, at the end of the day, Hua Cheng reveres Xie Lian and doesn't want to do anything to make him uncomfortable. Well, that makes Xie Lian feel bad. He's like, well, why am I being this way? He's like, get a hold of yourself this instant, right now. He's trying to, snap himself out of it. And he's like, I was just thinking of the Windmaster, so that's why I was serious. And so this part is weird, though. This part's a little weird. And I was kind of questioning Hua Cheng at this point. There's more to the story than we know. There's more going on there than we know. And Hua Cheng is privy to something we don't know yet, right? So, it could be, because Hua Cheng, he kind of it's not gaslighting. That's not what he does. But he tries to kind of I wish Hua Cheng would just be honest with Xie Lian and explain what was going on. But I think there's a reason for it. So Hua Cheng tells Xie Lian to stay away from the Windmaster, the Watermaster, Ling Wen, Pei Ming, and the Earthmaster Ming Yi. Tells him to stay away from him. Now, Pei Ming and the Watermaster, I don't think you would have any trouble keeping Xie Lian away from them because he doesn't really care about either of those people. Ling Wen, Xie Lian relies upon quite a bit for information, so that might be a bit hard. And Hua Cheng should know that, right? Hua Cheng should know that Xie Lian relies a lot on Ling Wen, so he should be aware of that, right? And then he says to stay far away from the Windmaster and the Earthmaster, the further the better. But Hua Cheng, Hua Cheng, you know how Xie Lian is. You know how close he gets to people. Why would you tell him that? Because you know he's not going to listen, right? But the way he says it, he's like, Gege, do you trust me? And then Xie Lian was like, I do. I felt like it was such an Aladdin moment. He's like, do you trust me? And he's like, yes. And that's what he says, then stay away from them. Now, there could be multiple reasons that Xie Lian is told this. One, Hua Cheng is quite aware that Xie Lian likes to meddle and is trying to keep him safe because here's the thing. We think that he might still have a mole or way to spy inside the heavenly realm. That something might be going on. So maybe I'm going to play Supreme Ghost Advocate and say maybe the reason why Hua Cheng wanted Xie Lian to stay away right now is for a number of reasons. We haven't even talked about Feng Shen and Mu Qing. Maybe Hua Cheng knows about this whole squabble and the chaos being caused, the fight that's broke out in the heavenly realm that they don't even know Xie Lian's there. What the fudge? So maybe Hua Cheng, from his spying, knows about the situation. So he knows, if we're acting like Hua Cheng's probably like, I know Xie Lian. He's going to try to go up there and see the Windmaster. That's what he's going to try to do. He's going to try to get involved because as much as I love Xie Lian, he can't let things be alone, right? He can't let anything rest. So if Hua Cheng knows about this fight that Feng Shen and Mu Qing are having, then he probably would not want Xie Lian to go up there because one, Xie Lian might try to get involved in the fight and that will cause a bunch of problems. And Hua Cheng doesn't want that for Xie Lian. So that's one. Two, Hua Cheng may know that the Windmaster no longer has their spiritual powers and that they are going to be in potential danger, which could put Xie Lian in danger. Because at the end of the day, Hua Cheng is just trying to keep Xie Lian safe. So he knows that if he goes up to see the Windmaster, that he's going to possibly get in deep in something that's going to cause him harm. Hua Cheng doesn't want that. He doesn't want him around Ling Wen because maybe he doesn't trust Ling Wen or doesn't want word to get out from Ling Wen to Pei Ming and the Watermaster because it doesn't sound like Hua Cheng likes the Watermaster very much and thinks that they might try to hurt Xie Lian. So basically, Hua Cheng is trying to protect Xie Lian from getting hurt. And he thinks that any scenario right now involving those 5 individuals is going to lead Xie Lian to getting hurt. And so that's why he tells him to stay away. But Xie Lian ain't going to do that. He's not going to listen. I'm like, Hua Cheng, you should know better. Maybe he was just telling Xie Lian that too, to be like, so when he does save Xie Lian, he's like, I told you so. And Xie Lian will be like, well, what do we do? So I like that they return to the Puji Shrine. Just the image of Long Ying, Guzi, and Qirong bundled up in a blanket is actually kind of wholesome. And we don't see Qirong curse at all at this point. So maybe Qirong's calming down. Maybe the ghosts have fed him some extra food and calmed him down a little bit, right? But there's this large pile of prayers waiting for him and a banner and stuff that he's gotten from the wealthy merchant. So then Xie Lian says, this place is kind of falling in. Puji Shrine is kind of, it's needing to be renovated desperately, and it's kind of it's a hazard at this point. And so Hua Cheng says, well, you could move in with me. Move in with me, right? Now, Paradise Manor, it's just a house, it's not a home. But it could be if Xie Lian went and lived with him. I can't see Xie Lian being happy in Paradise Manor, honestly, except for the armory, maybe. But then Xie Lian would want to bring Long Ying and Guzi with him and his cousin. And I'm sure Hua Cheng will be like, well, the one kid can come. Qirong, no. And Long Ying, don't know about that. Because again, Long Ying, why does Hua Cheng hate him? We still don't know. It's still a mystery, right? But Xie Lian is in denial. Xie Lian is very conflicted about his thoughts about Hua Cheng at this point. He doesn't know how to feel. He's like, I don't know what to do. So anytime Hua Cheng kind of jokes, Xie Lian doesn't want to make him feel bad, but he also doesn't want to let on that he doesn't know what to do about the joke. So he just kind of goes, I've done that before where if I can't hear somebody and it's in a crowded area and they're trying to say, I'm like, what can you do, right? You don't want to be rude. And so then Xie Lian answered the prayers and he went to the village and him and Hua Cheng. I like that they helped plant the paddy fields. That's just a random date. We've had dates we went from being carried by golden skeletons through the town in this ghostly, extravagant, step litter to going and working in rice paddies. That's to be in a Hua Cheng Xie Lian relationship. You just never know when you're going to have a date and where. But of course, when they go to do all of this, they stand out like sore thumbs because they're both gorgeous and all the girls surround them. And Xie Lian is getting jealous. Xie Lian is jealous. And I feel as if the answer that Hua Cheng, when Hua Cheng gave him that answer saying that yes, the woman that I love, like Xie Lian gives Hua Cheng the bamboo hat. And at first it was a nice callback to Banyu, because when they were walking through the desert, Xie Lian offered him the bamboo hat, and San Lang was like, oh, I don't need it. You take it, Gege. It's fine. But now he takes it. And he's like, okay, all right. You want to give me your bamboo hat? Okay, I'll wear it. And in the photo, in the picture that we have, his hair's like all mussy. It's all, let me find that picture. His hair's all messed up and stuff. And it seems like when he's talking about the woman that he loves, or the wife that he loves, Xie Lian's like, well, I'm like, Xie Lian, he wants to marry you. He wants you to be the wife. Don't you get it? Like, we're establishing our top and bottom dynamics as we speak, right? So, but yeah, everybody around. I like that the people in the village, well, I don't like this. The people in the village, like, they tell Xie Lian, they're like, oh man, that Hua Cheng, he's so young and handsome. He's gotta find himself a lady and settle down. And Xie Lian, they don't even ask Xie Lian if he's found a lady and settled down. It's like they treat him like he's an old man, which he is. But it's funny that they don't care if Xie Lian settled down. They're all worried about Hua Cheng. It's like, see how it is. And Hua Cheng is instantly elegant and graceful in everything that he does. And so I like that Hua Cheng, he gets the people to leave him alone by saying, I'm married, there's a wife at home. And they're like, well, like, what is she like? Is she virtuous and beautiful? And his exact words are, virtuous and beautiful, a real noble and gracious special someone that I've liked since I was young. I've had that crush for many years and pursued really hard before I was able to win that person over. You know what the weird thing about this is that what he does there is kind of like a Venerable of Empty Words moment, where you can't tell 3 truths in a row. You have to sprinkle a lie in there, right? Which is kind of weird. But yeah, so he says, Xie Lian's virtuous and beautiful, a noble and gracious special someone I've liked since I was young. I've had a crush for many years and pushed really hard. And he says, and pursued really hard before I was able to win that person over. And Xie Lian's like, what do you mean you have a wife? Like, you've never spoken about this wife before. Like, is it true? Are you really married? And we don't get to see Hua Cheng. He's like, oh, that's a lie. But there's no real words about what his tone is. It said he hadn't noticed himself, but he let out a sigh of relief. And this time his smile was genuine, and he copied Hua Cheng's tone from before. Oh, you liar. And Hua Cheng's like, oh, well, that wasn't all a lie. I just haven't won that person over yet. And then Hua Cheng leaves him. Hua Cheng knows exactly what he's doing. At this point, Hua Cheng is taking the stick and tapping Xie Lian. At this point, he's not just prodding. He's tapping him, being like, hey, get it, right? I like this person who's virtuous and beautiful. I've liked them forever, but I haven't won them over yet. I can't imagine who it is, you know? And it's kind of like a reverse psychology. I think what Hua Cheng is trying to do is to pull out Xie Lian's feelings, to get Xie Lian to come to terms with himself, how he feels about Hua Cheng. And Hua Cheng is hoping, what I think Hua Cheng is hoping will happen, is that Xie Lian will get jealous, realize his feelings for Hua Cheng, and confess to Hua Cheng himself, and realize those feelings and that they're real. I think Hua Cheng he is going to wait until Xie Lian makes the move, because he's that respectful. But he's trying to like just prod it out slowly, being like, you know, I do like someone. I've liked someone for a long time, but I've not won them over yet. And what I feel like he wants to happen is that Xie Lian is going to get jealous and be like, well, why am I jealous? Wait, do I like Hua Cheng? I do like Hua Cheng. And he's going to confess, and then Hua Cheng's going to say, well, dummy, you're the one that I've been in love with. I just have never been able to win you over. I'm waiting for that moment to happen. Now, is it going to happen in this volume? Is Xie Lian going to have a realization that he likes Hua Cheng in this volume at the halfway point in the story? I mean, we're a fourth of the way through. Very well could happen. Or Xie Lian could realize that he likes Hua Cheng in this volume, but isn't able for reasons, whatever happens, to tell Hua Cheng. And then we still have volumes 5, 6, 7, and 8. It's happening. I feel like Lust from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. It's coming. Like I'm ready. We're inching closer. And Hua Cheng just took the stick and prodded Xie Lian forward just a wee bit. And yeah, I like the representation that his mind was distracted because he started to veer off course with his planting. And so he had to get back on track, right? And so Xie Lian's like, I know Hua Cheng told me not to talk to them, but I'm not going to listen. Xie Lian runs to the beat of his own drum. And he tries to ask Ling Wen for help. And Ling Wen says the Wind Master's fine. And Xie Lian instantly knows they're lying. Mm-hmm. But the part that was kind of weird was that I got a little suspicious and kind of a little creepy vibe when Ling Wen was like, oh, take the gift the Water Master gave you. Because I'll be honest, up until the point where we go to the Heavenly Realm, I seriously wondered if Ling Wen, Pei Ming, and the Water Master were not like the Reverend of Empty Words, just taking on this weird form to run off with the Wind Master. I almost wondered if that was like a deception. And if that was the thing, right? But obviously it's not. It is really them. Ling Wen didn't want Xie Lian to come up to the Heavenly Realm because it's chaos and they couldn't, crazy things were going on. And Ling Wen's like, I don't got time to deal with you, Xie Lian. We got all this stuff happening. Just take the gift, fix up your shrine, and go, right? And that's when he finds the 1,000,000 merits. And Xie Lian realizes, he's like, this is hush money. This isn't just a gift. He's like, if it had been like a necklace or something, I would have taken it as a token of appreciation. Sure. This is hush money. He's like, he's trying to keep me quiet. And Xie Lian's like, that won't do. I'm more humble than that. So he just takes it back to the Heavenly Realm. And he's like, oh, I'll just step out with my note. I'll leave a note for Hua Cheng. Step out. I'll be right back. I'll leave it next to the good for nothings. Can't believe he calls them good for nothings. But yeah, Hua Cheng's gonna come back and see the note and be like, damn it. Should have known. Can't keep a songbird caged, right? And so of all people, it is Feng Xin and Mu Qing. That's something too. This fight's broke out. It's not explained. We get one paragraph about it. Ling Wen is dealing with the headache of they're destroying the Marshall Avenue, having this big brawl. We get one paragraph about it, but it's like, we can't focus. We got to move on. I'm like, what the hell? But yeah, it's about the fetus spirit. Mu Qing's the dad. Mu Qing is the father of this baby. I am convinced at this point that Mu Qing is the dad. I could be wrong. I am probably wrong. But at this point, I'm going to say that Mu Qing is the dad because he doesn't want the fetus spirit destroyed. They were going to, it says that they were going to dissolve it. They were going to get rid of it. And Mu Qing didn't want them to do it. Feng Xin suggested they do it. And Mu Qing wouldn't let him. So something's up. Either Mu Qing is the dad of this fetus spirit and he doesn't want the spirit of his dead child dissolved, which can't blame him, or he has such a relationship with her, with the mom, that he doesn't want it destroyed and it to completely crumble her character for whatever reason. But yeah, because honestly, if Mu Qing wasn't the father or didn't have a strong connection with her, why would he care what they did with the fetus spirit? But so there's that mystery that MXTX says, oh, hey, don't forget about this. We'll come back to it eventually. What the hell? But there's no time. There's so much happening in this volume. There has been, we spent the last 10 chapters running in circles throughout this Reverend of Empty Words. We spent the last 10 chapters running in complete circles, not getting anywhere. And now in the span of 3 chapters, we've made huge leaps. So it's just everything's happening so fast. And we still have 4 volumes. Like 3 3/4 volumes left of the story. Oh my gosh, y'all. But yeah, he's Ling Wen is having trouble with that. And she's like, don't bother with the Wind Master. Just leave your stuff and go. And so Xie Lian drops the reward thing saying, here, use this to fix the roads, and then leaves. And Lingwen calls after him, but she lets it go and goes back to the craters. Like, she's too busy to worry about it. I like that she's gone back to her female form. I wonder if it is like the Windmaster said, and Lingwen's female form is stronger, so that's why she's in that form dealing with the road. But yeah, so then Xie Lian just goes right to the Watermaster's palace. Just walks right in. I do like the way that MXTX writes this section, though, of him, like, again, it feels like Aladdin. He's just, like, flipping over all the beams and stuff and then hangs upside down and look in the window. And the Watermaster is trying to sedate the Windmaster so that they'll be sedated while he's going off to his trial. And I kind of feel bad for the Watermaster in these chapters because you can tell he's beside himself. Like, this is his brother that he loves, and he doesn't know what to do for him. And he's got this trial coming up, and he's like, well, maybe I can fix your fan or get you a new spiritual device. And the Windmaster's like, what does it matter? Why do I need it? Just let me go to the mortal realm. I don't want to be a god anymore. I don't have any power. And the Watermaster's just not accepting that. He's like, no, we have to stay together. That's the thing. I do feel bad for the Watermaster because I think the Watermaster wants them to stay together. It's not just the fact that the Windmaster doesn't have their powers anymore. It's the fact that he doesn't want them to be separated or split apart. Like, he deliberately kept them together as kids, and now the idea that they would be apart is just the worst idea to him. But he gets this call, this private message saying that he's going to be busy for a while, so I have no time to mind you. Once I return from going to my third heavenly calamity, you won't be able to act up like this anymore. And he leaves. So I thought originally that maybe the Watermaster was told that Xie Lian had been there and he was going to go investigate. Or there's that possibility. Or the Watermaster could have been told it's time for his third trial and he left to go do that. So in either case, Xie Lian sneaks in, but he can't get in again, it's very reminiscent of the pavilion and having the spell that keeps you from going inside. The Windmaster has to let you in. But again, he doesn't ask him how he got in. So it's like, oh. But yeah. And then Ming Yi showing up. Ming Yi just showing up like in this truly dire with the ghost mask. Like shows up. Like that's the mask he probably used to get into the ghost city in disguise. But he does it to sneak in. And I love these like, Ming Zhong, my God, Ming Zhong, my good bro, hurry. Help me loosen these binds. I love Beef Leaf. I love the Windmaster and the Earthmaster together. I love the Earthmaster came to save them, dug a tunnel, dug under a heavenly officials with his little moon shovel to rescue him. It's just so sweet. I love it. And then they decide to get out this way because they're like, we might as well dig out, right? And so that's when they realize that the Windmaster doesn't have any spiritual power. And so they go. And so Ming Yi is trying to question, again, Ming Yi I believe is totally innocent. They're trying to question, was it the Reverend of Empty Words? And the Windmaster says no matter who did it, this whole thing is done and over with. They're like, the Windmaster seems quite defeated. They don't know what to do at this point. They're like, and they're trying to make the best of the situation. I feel like the Windmaster is always someone and has always been somebody that tries to make the best of the situation. So if things weren't going well in the Ghost City, they tried to look optimistic and make the most of it. If things in the Heavenly Realm were kind of, off kilter, awkward, they tried to make the most of it. And here the Windmaster's like, I don't have any spiritual power. I'm basically immortal. I'm just going to accept it and go with it. And they're trying to make the most of it. But Ming Yi and Xie Lian don't seem like that's good enough for them. And so as they're going underneath all the houses, the thing of it is this is like the worst time to rescue the Windmaster because of all the holes in the avenue. They can't go through the Grand Marshal Avenue because there's all these holes from Feng Xin and Mu Qing's fight. They can't escape easily. So again, I wonder if Hua Cheng was like, please, Xie Lian, don't go to the Heavenly Realm. Don't get involved because one, there's a fight going on up there. You're not going to be able to easily escape. Two, the Earthmaster is digging up there. You're going to get involved in that and could possibly be in trouble. Three, the Windmaster could possibly get you in trouble with the Watermaster, and all this bad stuff could happen. So I'm sure Hua Cheng is looking at that note right now like, it's a good thing I love him. And yeah, so they're going under somebody's house waiting for them to leave. We established that heavenly officials can sense with all five senses insanely well. And then as they're like about to move, this sword comes down in between Xie Lian's legs as he pushes the other two away. And that's the damn cliffhanger. Nope. 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 How frustrating. How frustrating. There's no way I'm going to wait. No. Maybe this weekend I will let you all know. Maybe this weekend, if I get caught up with my other reactions, I'll read chapters 116 and 117. There's no way. There's no way. So next week may be shorter because it's just chapters 116 and 117. But it is pages 117 to 138, which is like 30 pages, right? Or it's 20 pages. I'm not a math major. It's 20 pages. But so it may not be as like this set of chapters here was like 83 and 93, 93 and 103. It was 30 something pages. So the next set may be a shorter video, but y'all, I can't wait. But we still have questions, right? We still have questions. So things that aren't answered. The Reverend of Empty Words. What's the deal? Where are they? How did they take powers? How did that happen? What's going on with that? Why are none of the three tumors interested in chasing after it? You would think that maybe the Water Master and Pei Ming are going after the Reverend of Empty Words. Maybe they've decided to take on the charge and that's what they're going to face. And that's going to get in the way of the third trial that he's supposed to face. Maybe that is the case. And they just don't want to tell the Windmaster they're going after it, right? Why aren't they doing it? If they're not going after the Reverend of Empty Words, why not? Hua Cheng. What is he not saying and why? I mean, the why would be because he wants to protect Xie Lian. It's information that will hurt Xie Lian or put Xie Lian in a situation where he could hurt himself. And that's why he's not saying anything. But again, I'm like, Hua Cheng, if you love Xie Lian, you do have to communicate. If they're going to be a couple, like a real full-blown couple, they're going to have to communicate with one another. That is the one thing with Modao Zushi. In Modao Zushi, if you've not read it, Wei Wuxian and Lan Wangji, they communicate rather well together. They're very open about their communication with one another. They're detective sleuths together, and they are very open back and forth. The only time that Wei Wuxian is not, openly communicative with Lan Wangji is in the past when he's the Yiling Patriarch. But we're in the present in this story, so I feel like Hua Cheng is still holding on to that reverence of Xie Lian where he wants to keep him on a pedestal and keep him protected at all times. And at the same time, he's starting to, Xie Lian's been off doing his own thing, and he's been like, Hua Cheng is wrestling with the idea of wanting to keep Xie Lian safe and guard him at all times, and realizing that Xie Lian's his own person, he's going to do what he wants. So I want Hua Cheng to be more communicative and open with Xie Lian, but it's like, I don't think either of them are fully there yet. I think it's still that work in progress, right? So there's that. The whole thing with Yang Ling. What's up with that? Qi Rong. Are they just going to stay in the shrine forever? Like a lingering fart? We don't know. This whole thing with Feng Xin and Mu Qing. What is up with that? We don't know. We're not told. It's the fetus spirit continues. The mystery continues. And then on top of all of this, there is still the idea about Long Ying, right? I put, you know what I meant there. And then getting the dad out of Qi Rong. And then what we're doing with everything. Will Xie Lian figure out who Hua Cheng is? So there's so much mystery. There's so much still being questioned. And I'm like, and I want to know whose blade it is. So the question is, whose blade is it? Whose blade with thick killing intent pierced the ground between their legs? So I don't want to say it's Junwu, because I think Junwu would be too calm. I don't think it's Junwu's. Is it Lan Chanchu? Is it Feng Xin? Is it Mu Qing? Is it Pei Ming? Is it the Water Master? Is it the Zhijin guy that we've not seen? Is it him? There's some heavenly official that it is. And the question is, what is happening? And whose sword is it that's trying to kill them all? And we're going to have to find out next week. So, yeah. got that to look forward to. So I'm very curious to know your thoughts down below. Please no spoilers, but I don't know if I can wait, y'all. We'll see, but we'll find out next week. In the meantime, I hope y'all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe. Take care. I hope y'all enjoyed this reaction discussion, and I'm excited to hear your thoughts down below. And I'll be back next week with chapters 116 and 117 of Heaven Official's Blessing. Bye.